Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Chemical Reactions. I'm Chuck.
And I'm Juliet.
Today we're back to School of 90s Rock. We're doing KoRn. Our poll winner is Freak on a Leash. Right after this. Alright, shout out to ChemSquad and to the Circle of Death.
As usual.
As usual, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps us, get some good feedback that you're interested in what we're doing, So yeah, as promised, the School of 90s Rock, which is still a fairly new series, we'll figure, you know what, let's do KoRn. I was the first pioneer into new metal, right? I think if you were to point to a band that really invented new metal, you'd probably point to KoRn. Of course, they took some influence from bands like Rage Against the Machine that we did a couple of weeks ago. But KoRn really came out with a brand new sound, and they were huge. So the song we're going to do won our poll. It was actually probably my 5 favorite songs from the 90s from KoRn. Freak on a Leash won fairly handily. It's off of their 3rd album, Follow the Leader, which is probably the album where they really got into the mainstream. And, KoRn was really everywhere on the radio. They were huge. One of the biggest bands in the world at that time. So the version we're going to watch and react to is from 1999, live at Woodstock. Obviously not the original Woodstock that was in 1969, but essentially exactly 20 years ago. Plus, the original Woodstock was in 1969, and essentially it ended 50 years ago yesterday as we're filming. So we figured, you know what, it's a nice little omen. Let's go with the live version of Woodstock. As always, the link will be in the description below if you want to watch it for yourself. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
I think you all know this fucking song.
Yep.
I want to see how many motherfuckers out there can get naked. This is Woodstock, goddammit.
Okay.
And
All
I
right,
want to see
John.
you motherfuckers dance. Come on! Something takes a part of me. Someone lost and never see. How many times have I done with thee? Something's raped and taken from me. Life's gotta always be messing with me. Can't it chill and let me be free? Can't I take away all this pain? I try to every night, all in vain. Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me fall from grace. Come on! Something takes a part of me. You and I were meant to be. A cheap box for me to lay. Something takes a part of me. Feeling like a freak on a leash. Feeling like I have no release. How many times have I felt disease?
This is a very moody song.
Nothing in my life is free. Sometimes I cannot take this place. Sometimes it's my life I can't taste. Sometimes I cannot feel my face. You'll never see me fall from grace. Something takes a part of you and I. Something takes a part of me.
I don't know if he's having some issues with his mic. Slapping the bass.
Go! Thank you.
You could tell that song is taking a lot out of him, right? The end of
Yeah.
it, he was, thank you.
They certainly have an interesting style. He was wearing like a leather kilt.
Was it leather?
It looked leather.
Yeah.
And then like a wife beater and like basketball socks.
Yeah.
So interesting.
And then the guitarist was wearing a like Slipknot kind of onesie. I
he
think
looked-
before Slipknot made it big,
he looked
obviously.
very bored. Like every time the camera panned over to him, he looked completely uninterested.
I know. I know. Yeah. Mm.
And then there was the other guy who was dressed like Adam Sandler in the early 2000s.
The bassist?
I guess. I don't know, but he had the
What
like
was-
backwards hat and then he was wearing like huge clothes.
Yeah. I think this song, right? So this song is really a bit of a mix. In a way, kind of very smooth to like heavy, like from one beat to the next, right? There's that a few times. It starts very smooth and then heavy, then smooth. Some of the heaviest breakdowns, right? Like before it goes with this, gibberish, like super heavy breakdown. Da-boom, da-da-boo, da-ba-da-ba-da-boom. He's using his throat to really get some awesome sounds, right? I'm getting a bit of vibes of like the throat singers from like Native Americans, or even like the New Zealand natives who use kind of a big, what's that thing called? It has
I know
a
what
name.
you're talking about, but I don't
It's
know
a
what
didgeridoo. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, big didgeridoo. So that kind of percussive sound coming out of his throat.
Percocet.
I'm assuming this was probably towards the end of their set.
Also seemed like they had technical difficulties at some point.
Yeah, it looks like the mic kind of went off at some point. The early days of wireless mics, I guess. But yeah, so maybe not as much energy as I'm sure they would have had at the beginning of their set, but it's still Freak on a Leash. It's still a super heavy song. It's still a lot of energy. This was at the time where KoRn was obviously getting very, very big. And I think this song is a bit about kind of dealing with that fame.
Kind of being chained down by the wants of the music industry. And
Yeah, exactly. And
not
also
having that kind of creative freedom anymore.
and the pushback from the conservative groups. I think KoRn had a decent amount of pushback from like the religious rights for some of their subject matters that they would bring in some of their songs. So you can really tell, right? It's almost kind of, again, two moods, but then at the end when it really explodes, it's gibberish, but you can tell there's a lot of anger
Yeah,
coming through.
definitely.
some things taken from me, you know. Sometimes I cannot feel my face, right? So we know where The Weeknd kind of took that, right? John Davis couldn't feel his face before.
And it's about drugs.
Yeah, can I take away all this pain? I tried to every night, all in vain. So either it's, you know, he's having a rough day, he's hoping that the next day is going to be better, right? Or maybe at night is kind of when he uses drugs, right? Essentially as a way to take away all the pain or gets drunk or whatever, right? But clearly that's coming from someone who's having a lot of issues,
Yeah.
a lot of angst, a lot of anger, and kind of.
It's interesting that a song that seems to be about the ills of the music industry ends up being so commercially popular.
Yeah.
And something that, you know, like the management that they probably felt chained down by certainly made a lot of money off of.
Yeah, I think you see that, right? A lot of these bands, when they're starting small, they probably feel like they have a lot more kind of creative, freedom, right? Especially when they're still independent, they're doing the music they want to do. But then when an album does well, then there's a lot more pressure. All right, so this is the new normal, right? So now we want all your albums to do this well, and we're gonna make sure that, you know, whatever the format worked the first time, your next song should be the same thing. And it's a theme we saw with like Dream Theater. You know, that first album, I think it was not their first. I think it was their second album. The one where we did Pull Me Under.
Yeah, that was the second album we got.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
heavily corrected on that.
Yeah. So Pull Me Under was a huge commercial hit, right? But then that was not exactly the music that they were trying to make. So then they have to, you know, again, try to get a bit of that creative freedom back from the label and say, you know what, it's not normal for us. We're still going to try to do the music we want to do.
Which is why you see, you know, a lot of musicians step out of the limelight at what seems to be, you know, their peak of their popularity and their success, because they've lost the reason that they started making music in the first place.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's been turned over to popular culture.
Yeah. But yeah, man, Follow the Leader, that was another one of these huge albums, you know? Especially, like, tell me what you guys think. I thought Life is Peachy, their second album, was not quite the same level as their self-titled album, their first album. And then when this came out, it was really kind of KoRn back in full form. And that was a masterpiece of an album. And then next year they came out with Issues, which had also a bunch of really great songs. I think two of which were on our poll. Make Me Bad was always one of my favorite. I love the vibe of that song. But I think KoRn was definitely a band that was, you know, crucial to the second half of the 90s in terms of being the pioneer as to what sound would come next, right? I think you wouldn't have Linkin Park, you wouldn't have like even Slipknot, you wouldn't have a lot of these bands that really took their sound in large part, certainly heavily influenced by KoRn, if it wasn't for KoRn kind of blazing the trail ahead of time.
Yeah.
Metal Tomatoes?
94.
All right. Like I said, and you know, some of you might have seen it in the poll. My favorites from KoRn from the 90s are probably Got the Life and Make Me Bad. So this was not my favorite. It's a great song to headbang to. I think I'm probably right there with you, around 94. Yeah. What do you guys think? Metal Tomatoes rating for this song.
Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah. And then School of 90s Rock. I like this new series. What do you guys think? Should we keep going with School of 90s Rock? And if so, what should we do next week? Give us suggestions. Always helpful to get your thoughts on what it is we should do. Because honestly, we're trying to do something that, you know, helps with our general education and understanding of music, but also we want to make sure
we want to be putting out content that people are going to enjoy watching.
Exactly. You know, it's hopefully going to give you a bit of a respite from your day for like 15-20 minutes and something you enjoy. So let us know what you'd like to see from us. Always helpful to know. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like. Again, if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Follow us on our social medias.
Don't
Whatever
say
you-
soch.
whatever you call it. We'll see you next time on our next video. Thank you so much for watching.
Peace.
Go!